What is up, everybody? Welcome to NFL Draft Weekly, a show where we break down everything college football and NFL draft heading into week 3. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on, man? Another fantastic week of college football that led us into the first full Sunday of the NFL season. So there was football upon football this weekend. We had great games all over the place.
Yeah, man, let's jump right in. Before we head into week 3, what was your top takeaway from week 2?
Listen, that Texas Alabama game was something special. I was against my better judgment, but I was surprised. I actually watched the ESPN2 version, which was the what's his face? I can't even think of his name. The guy just got hired by ESPN. Used to punt for the Colts. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, yeah, they did their own version of like the Manning cast kind of. And it was their team kind of just sitting on the sidelines at each end zone, just commenting on the game. And it was kind of a fun experience because they had like Matthew McConaughey on and a couple other like celebrities and whatnot. But man, but my takeaway was Texas football is back, baby.
Yeah,
they looked great against a wonderful Alabama team and a wonderful Alabama defense. And that offense is for real. Xavier Worthy, Quinn Ewers, what a combination, and Donis Mitchell. I mean, it was Sanders. My God, I honestly, I fell in love more with him probably than anybody else. The great game he had. That Texas offense, as we stated many times, is going to be something this year. And they came to play. Listen, the game was back and forth. They lost the lead. It didn't look great. And then, boom, all of a sudden, they kicked it into high gear and absolutely grabbed 2 quick touchdowns and really took the game over. But, yeah, man, I've always thought that college football is much better when the Longhorns are in the mix. And they sure are now.
Absolutely agree. I thought Quinn Ewers was the star of the game. This is a guy that has broken down against pressure, against the blitz, and he really had a big moment on a huge stage against an Alabama team, which admittedly doesn't have as many, 2024 NFL draft prospects as they usually do. They're usually loaded top to bottom. But Quinn Ewers made a lot of big-time throws, made a lot of really good decisions with the football, especially dodging pressure, getting out of the pocket, hitting guys in stride. Quinn Ewers, man, we've been waiting for that kind of performance from this guy because, I mean, he came out as one of the biggest quarterback recruits ever. And he's got a guy sitting behind him in the wings, Arch Manning, ready to take that job, ready to take that spot. And sure enough, man, he delivered. So huge kudos to Quinn Ewers. And like you said, JT Sanders cementing himself as tight end 2 behind Brock Bowers. That was a great performance, man. JT Sanders is a day 2 guy, no question. 6'4", uber athlete, amazing in the open field. I like that kid a lot. My big takeaway is the freaking Pac-12, man. It could be the last year. I don't know. Like, it probably is, but wow, they are loaded with really good teams that continue to stand out week after week after week. USC, Colorado is absolutely the real deal. Can they slow down teams defensively? That's still up in the air, but their offense is really good. They did really well against the Nebraska defense that I thought played its heart out. They did well. Oregon, UCLA has a young freshman phenom in Dante Moore, quarterback, that had a really good game this weekend. Utah, Washington State has arguably right there with Riley Leonard in terms of underrated quarterbacks in Cam Ward. So it's amazing how deep the Pac-12 is this year. So that's my take, the Pac-12. It's everyone kind of makes fun of it, especially when it comes to Eagles fans and Pac-12 recruits and prospects and things like that, because we've kind of been burnt one too many times. But the Pac-12 is real. That's my take.
Yeah, no, it's that's a great point, and it's funny, as you mentioned, this could be theoretically the last year of the Pac-12. We a lot of their teams are shipping out to other conferences, and there's a couple of teams left, but maybe who knows how it's all going to shake out. But yeah, man, they're trying to make it one special, hell of a last season there for them, and USC and Oregon and Colorado, what a great game that was, and
yeah,
I mean it's definitely going to be special to watch this conference throughout the rest of this year. So for sure, and they got a lot of great prospects coming in for the 2024 draft that we have already talked about and will continue to talk about for the next few months.
Yeah, some of the elite offenses are in the Pac-12, man. Washington, teams like that. USC, of course, Colorado. Just really exciting stuff. All right, let's jump into our top Eagles targets of the week. As I find our thing, there it is. Let's go. All right, let's jump into week 3 preview here, talking top Eagles draft targets, draft prospects of the week. Lead us off, Ryan. Who is your first guy you have on your radar?
So anybody who's watched this show throughout, I've been kind of sticking to a specific position group every week. I did, I did offensive tackles, I did linebackers, and now I'm going to be looking at safety, because safety for me is certainly going to be a need, and hopefully we have found a guy, in Sidney Brown. But again, it's 1 week, and he didn't really get all that much playing time, but he was flying around there, made a couple of good plays in special teams. But still, safety is somewhere where I'm going to be looking at. And so I'm looking first. I'm going to be looking at I believe Andrew Makuba. No,
yep.
Is that what I said first? Yeah, sorry, I forgot the order. Forgot the order to which I went into. But yeah, listen, this guy is on an amazing Clemson defense. We have certainly talked about the linebackers here at Clemson, but Makuba is an absolute amazing safety. He certainly seems to be able to kind of be very versatile throughout the secondary. Can play either safety spot, can kind of play corner if need be, in the slot. But what I really like about him is just his ability to kind of not only be a great coverage defensive back, but also really, really good in the run game, in the run defense. I think he has great quickness. He has the ability to kind of hit that pocket, hit that hole, and again help with that run defense support. Again, I think his quickness and kind of his burst is certainly what helps in that regard. And when you see this guy, he just looks like a great safety, honestly. I will say that obviously Clemson hasn't had the great start that they have certainly wanted this year, but again, I think he's coming into his own this year, into this Clemson defense. And honestly, I think there's, a few things certainly he needs to work on. He can over pursue at times, and he certainly does get a few too many penalties. But I think I think Dabo and the defensive staff there has really been working with him this year, and so far I've seen really good play out of him this year, and I think he's going to end up being easily. I think he's going to be a top 5 safety for sure. Mm-hmm. But again, safeties also kind of seem to fluctuate a lot throughout the draft process, but I fully expect him to be in the conversation end of round 1, early day 2 kind of deal.
Yeah, Makuba's nice. He is my number 1 safety in the class. Um, yeah, that's sure to change, of course.
Right.
But he's nice. He's like 6 foot. Makuba's kind of got that like jack of all trades, but not elite at one thing. He doesn't have great size. He's not like an elite athlete, but he's got really good short area quickness, really good versatility. He can line up anywhere in the box, blitz the quarterback. He's nice. I like him a lot. I agree. I think he's got like definite day one, day two potential.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes with the safety position whether people are going to value it. I mean, we saw Brian Branch, perfect example. I think early on in the process, it was like a no-brainer. This guy was going to go like, top 15, top 10. And then as it came along, he just kept slipping and slipping because the need for safety wasn't really there for some of these NFL teams. So, while certainly he's going to be one of the top safeties coming out of last year, Branch that is, again, it's just the position is a little devalued at times. So it's hard to kind of predict where teams are going to see it each year. So
yeah, it's a low key really good safety class because I'm just going to jump into my next one because it's a safety. The guy I'm talking about is Tyler Nubin, a safety prospect out of Minnesota. He was a high school wide receiver, a high school cornerback, and it shows on tape, man. He's a fluid athlete, really good pedal, really good range. Didn't move to safety full time until his second year at Minnesota, but he's been terrific this year. He's already got 2 interceptions through 2 games. He's going up against a great quarterback this week in Drake May, who threw in 2 interceptions last week. So we'll see what happens. But I think this is a guy that I have a day 2 grade on, and I would love to see him in Midnight Green, man. His anticipation, his ability to know where the quarterback is going with the football is elite, absolutely elite. So Tyler Nubin's definitely he was on my most underrated prospect list when I was doing that series, and he's had a terrific start to the 2023 season. Like you said, or I guess like I said, like I think this class is really deep. I think it's really deep because I think your next guy is one of my favorite prospects in the entire 2024 class.
Yeah, no, again, like I said, staying with safeties here. And yeah, this guy wasn't necessarily a big guy on my radar prior to the season, but certainly has, caught my attention. I know he certainly, as you said, caught yours as well. And that is Cole Bishop from the University of Utah. This guy is absolutely has had a great start to his season this year, and again, as I said, was kind of the reason it attracted me and wanted to kind of look more into him. He's a very athletic safety. Absolutely has speed to stick with fast tight ends, and honestly, some even bigger slot receivers. Has great ball skills, good with turnovers, and honestly has a very good, blitz factor to him as well. Has that speed to kind of come off the edge and a little safety blitz there. As I said, he's great ability to cover tight ends, really fluid hips to make that turn and run with pretty much anybody kind of in the middle of the field. But he has great instincts and really just kind of has a knack for that ball. Tough kid, good tackler, and yeah, like I said, his ability to kind of get in, stop the run, blitz quarterback. He's kind of all over the field, and I absolutely love that about him. He has amazing quickness, but you wouldn't ever say top elite speed. But really does help throughout a defense. With his blitz ability, with his coverage ability, and yeah, Cole Bishop has absolutely had himself, a couple of nice games, especially Florida. Certainly, I believe he ended up having 11 total tackles, forced fumble. Again, was just absolutely flying over all over the field. And again, he's the kind of guy that you just couldn't take your eyes off of during that game. So would love to kind of see this guy keep continuing to progress. And honestly, I think he's probably right now maybe a late day twoer, early day threer.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think again, if he keeps catching people's eyes, that'll certainly change and have him moving up.
Yeah, man. He was one of my winners of week 2.
Mm.
He had the interception, man, that led to the game-winning touchdown for Utah this weekend.
Yeah,
This guy, he's a playmaker, man. Like everything you just said, he's a guy that can play on all 3 levels. I want to put this down real quick and show you how it looks. Like here's a collection of my biggest winners, week 0 to week 3, or sorry, to week 2. And Cole Bishop's name has been on there twice. The only other guy that's been, lights out, Michael Penix should probably also be added to week 2 because he was terrific. But anyway, Caleb Williams, he's going to be on this every week because he's a cheat code. But my goodness, Cole Bishop, week 1, week 2, he's the leader of that Utah defense. I really like that guy a lot, man. He's very, very talented. Let's go into another guy that I really like, has really caught my attention for sure. Was not on my running back rankings at all. I know Mark Henry Jr. is getting upset at me for having this guy. It assumes that he's going to enter the 2024 draft, and he could because he's a junior. But I know Notre Dame fans do not want him to declare. They want him to stay with the Fighting Irish as long as possible. But you look at, the Eagles forcing Gainwell way too much this past weekend. Let's get a bruiser. If you're not going to play Penny, then let's draft a bruiser. And that's what this guy is, man. He is a physical presence. Audric Estime, 5'11", 225 pounds, dual threat running back. He's just been a beast. He's only 20 years old, easily rising up the NFL draft boards. I think he's got day 2 potential. He's a yardage generator, a guy that can get the chains moving. He's actually also a very good pass blocker, which in Eagles football is definitely something I know Nick Sirianni values. But this guy, through 3 games, is averaging a ridiculous 8 yards per carry. He's been beasting, and he's got 4 touchdowns and nearly 400 yards already. You look at, if you look at that Notre Dame team, the big guy obviously is Joe Alt, but after that you have cornerback Benjamin Morrison, who will probably be a top 10 pick in 2 years from now. He is that good of a cornerback prospect. But I think the next best guy is not Sam Hartman. I think it's Audric Estime. I really like his NFL upside. And he's also an underrated receiver as well. He's got 5 catches, averaging 11 yards per reception. So Audric Estime is definitely one to watch out for. He's been just dominating on the ground. So all good things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was my prediction for week 0's MVP, kind of off the radar pick. But yeah, no, I love that dude. I think you're absolutely right. I think the bookend tackles there at Notre Dame certainly get a lot of a love here. But yeah, Estime really needs to kind of get some love too. Man, he's certainly gonna, he's not gonna be your prototypical 4'2" or 4.2 speed type of running back, but and he is effective, and you can't ask much more than that.
Yeah, he's a very good. He's a patient runner, disciplined runner, between the tackles kind of guy. Definitely a fun watch. And with all the huge games coming up for Notre Dame, their schedule is bananas. That guy could be, a household name very, very soon.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Who is your last Eagles target of the week?
All right. So again, I'm sticking with safety. I'm going down south. I'm going to the University of Miami and Cameron Kinchens, junior safety, 6 foot, 205 pound. safety. He is an absolute monster. I really do love this guy, and more I see about him. He has a great knack for kind of just knowing receivers' routes. Really reads the routes well and anticipates throws. Obviously, as you can see on the screen right here, 6 interceptions last year. So he has the ability to create turnovers, and that certainly serves him well in Miami. But he also has the ability to kind of cover up a lot of ground. He is very quick, is good at reading the quarterback's eyes. Kind of again, as I said, sees these routes and just anticipates so well. And I think that skill alone is going to really help him on the next level in the NFL. But he's also, a pretty decent hitter. I keep reading about him. He's they say what's the phrase? The willing and capable hitter, like as if some safeties, I guess, just don't care enough about being a hitter, but Kinson certainly does not care and will absolutely lay down a hit, especially in the run game. He's really great in the run support, closes fast and makes those plays, especially when it's like one of those screen plays. I feel like I've seen him light up a screenplay about 100 times just looking into him. So, but yeah, he can be a physical player. Again, that really does help him in the run game. But yeah, I think with his instincts and his willingness to lay down some lumber, and his ability to kind of cover ground quickly, I honestly think this guy really could rise up draft boards very soon. Again, they just had the win against Texas A&M, the other week or the other day. And yeah, I think right now he's kind of again hovering in that day 2 area. But again, I think one of these guys has got to pop into the first round, if not a couple of them, because again, it's this position is so important, and I don't understand the kind of devaluation that the safeties kind of are getting. I mean, it's not on the running back level of
Right.
of what's going on in the NFL, but yeah, man, it's Miami has himself, a really good safety down there, and so far he's had 2, great games again, upsetting Texas A&M on Saturday was certainly a highlight, and yeah, this
Yeah.
guy's just a ball hawk, man. He's just going to fly around and make some interceptions. So good on Miami, man. I would love to see an addition to the Midnight Green here.
Yeah. And they also have another safety in James Williams, who's like 6'4".
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's a big guy.
And Leonard Taylor, a very good defensive tackle. They're loaded. I'm not sure. I'm not yet buying the Miami Kool-Aid just yet. Like Tyler Van Dyke just lit everyone up against Texas A&M, I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't buy it yet.
I got it. I understand the hesitancy, especially with Miami. It's like ever since their heyday of when they were, in the national spotlight every year, again, they kind of fell off. And ever since then, whenever they try to make that step up back into, the national spotlight, they always seem to fall flat on their face. And, again, I'm a big traditional kind of guy. Like I said, I love it when like Texas is great. I love it when Miami is great. I love it when USC is fighting, for championships too. Like, give me the big name, Oklahoma, like all these guys. That's to me the college football I grew up with. Is these big school names that are always in the top 10, top 15 fighting, and Miami's certainly one of them. So I would love to see them kind of get back to the forefront of college football here, but I guess I'll just have to take Texas for the time being.
That's the school that I'm like got circled on my radar when it comes to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has lifted up that Colorado program. I'm curious how soon, I guess that's what this is. Like college football coaches are essentially assassins for hire.
Mhm.
How soon that Miami position, what's his name? Mario Cristobal. You look at that Florida position, like I know Deion Sanders probably heads to Florida if he gets that opportunity where I think he went to college at Florida State, right?
Florida State, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
He
cool.
certainly he would love to return to the state of Florida. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, listen, you might be right. In 2 or 3 years, he might be there. So, and
yep,
again, it's not like his kids will be playing for Colorado at that point anymore. So,
yeah,
probably wouldn't have any reason to really stay. So,
yeah. My last guy I want to talk about is Rome Adunze. He's a really good wide receiver prospect, 6'3", 211 pounds. Really, just a true complete 3-level threat. Smooth athlete, great route runner. His route tree is excellent. He's got 7 receptions per game through 2 games this season. He's got 2 touchdowns, receiving 1 on the ground as well. He's averaging a career high 17 yards per reception. He's going up against a Michigan State squad that's better than I thought they were. And I didn't know they were 2-0 until I kind of looked into them. That Michigan State defense has been pretty good. They've only conceded 2 touchdowns through the air, 107 yards per game passing. That defensive ranking has them sitting at 5th best in college football. So I'm really excited to see how Rome Odunze handles that Michigan State defense. That's a guy that I think has, again, day 1, day 2 potential. He was my number 3 behind Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. The dude's a beast, and I like him a lot. He's also got a teammate. I think his name is Jalen McMillan. That's also putting up huge numbers. So Rome Odunze for me.
yeah, no, I think we've talked about the combo of Adunze and Bannock's, and again with the Pac-12, as we were mentioning earlier, they seem to have a really good combo, quarterback to wide receiver combos, and they got to be up there honestly with with throughout the country. So it's certainly exciting to kind of see those two develop together throughout the season, and certainly both of them deserved high praise for certainly this last week. But yeah, even week 1, again, I like Adunze, and I think it's a tough wide receiver class. So the fact that we've been mentioning him and we're talking about him about being in this top elite list says a lot, because again, I think this might be one of the top heavy and also one of the deeper positions coming into this upcoming draft. I mean, it's I could see so many wide receivers getting drafted in the first round. It's crazy.
Yep. All right. Let's jump into our players of the week predictions.
You can't manage this, can't break this, boy, I'm funded. Gotta keep my distance when you not 100. From the same ones say they love you, late they funny. You can't match my energy, and yeah, you know it. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold. Way too cold, yeah, man, I'm way too cold.
Guess what? Your boy is on the board here looking at winners of the week. Week 2, Ryan predicted Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, 2 receptions, 55 yards, and a TD. Last week, I went with Xavier Worthy, which I spelled wrong, out of Texas, who had 5 receptions for 75 yards and a score. And that ends the win streak for Ryan.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Through 3 weeks, Ryan is still winning 2-1. So let's jump into our player of the week predictions. Ryan, who's your guy? And this one kills me.
Yeah. Listen, I'll give you certainly a lot of credit here too when we were talking about this. But, we just talked about this guy's, one of his favorite targets in Adunze, and it's going to be Michael Penix Jr. He has had a great start to his season. They just beat up on poor old Tulsa last week, 43-10. He had, just an easy 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. No big deal. And again, looking at their schedule for this upcoming week, It's really not looking all that great, for whoever's going to have to play Washington. And so, listen, I think just given the matchup here, for Washington, what I think they're playing. God, who are they playing? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Washington is playing. I'll look it up.
I literally just had it up to him. How it works, but
Is it Hawaii, or I could be wrong. Hold on. Washington is playing Michigan State. We literally just talked about it.
we really just did talk about it. That's, okay, maybe I was looking at the wrong schedule here, but either way, I'm still sticking with Penix. He has had 2 really good games, putting up a lot of points there for the Huskies. And yeah, Michigan State certainly has kind of been a little surprising. I don't think anybody expected them to kind of, be anything this year, but their defense certainly is good, but their defensive backfield isn't the greatest. So I fully expect Odunze to kind of be able to, force his will upon that defensive backfield. And, Penix has a unique ability to really kind of, just absolutely feast on defense's weakness. He's not, the type of quarterback that's going to run for 100 yards, but he certainly is elusive when he needs to be, can get out of the pocket, but he's generally always looking to throw down the field. And honestly, I'm just kind of riding his, first 2 games of the season kind of hot streak here. And, I'm thinking, this is a good week to grab Penix Jr. and let that Washington Husky win streak ride.
Nice. That's a really good selection. Penix is awesome. He's right. The race for QB3 is pretty freaking nuts, man. It's you got Shedeur Sanders, you've got Quinn Ewers, you've got Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Riley Leonard. It's going to be a wild race. Penix is right there. If I had to pick 2 right now, it's Shedeur Sanders and it's Michael Penix Jr. Those are my 2 for QB3, and I like both of them a lot, way more than most of the guys the last 2 years.
Agreed. I think you make a great point there. Honestly, is generally the last couple of years the quarterback class has had those 1 or 2 guys, maybe even a third. But there's a steep drop off, and I feel like this year there's really not. It's a kind of more of a small gradual, but that next tier though is I feel like could compete in a lot of years quarterback classes, and we still don't know how it's going to shake out. There's so many possibilities of who and there's probably a guy that we're not even really talking about that's going to jump in. And again, I don't think we all saw Sanders being in that race as the number 3 guy. We knew he was a guy, but I didn't think we knew he was number 3 guy,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Really good selection there. My player of the week prediction, I'm going to Bucky Irving. He's a smallish running back prospect, 5'10", 194 pounds. One of the top running backs in the country. Dude is just a dynamic playmaker. I'm really interested to see this guy. I'm kind of going on a leap because he's kind of in a committee, running back by committee backfield there for Oregon, but they're going up against Hawaii, and I really like the chances because Hawaii has given up some points this season. We'll see what happens. I like Bucky Irving a lot, and we'll see what happens. But I think this guy is a home run threat. He's a guy that can just, get an 80-yard touchdown run at the drop of a hat. Really good in space, really good kind of guy that can make defenders miss. So Bucky Irving is my pick. Michael Penix Jr. is like picking Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
I can't believe you did that, but it was a really good choice. It was a really
like I said, he's had a great start. And I fully expect him to certainly continue that. But I do love your choice. I mean, Oregon running backs to me have always kind of had that lore about them, and they always end up just absolutely dominant. And yeah, I like Irvin. I think that's a great choice. Hawaii certainly not known for the run defense, so
Yeah,
I fully expect them to run to Honolulu and back. So
that's really what it is. Is like, Hawaii gave up 35 points to Vandy. They gave up uh, 37 points to Stanford. So there's a good chance that. Wait, no, was Vandy last season? I could be wrong. I could be looking at this wrong. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
yeah.
That wraps it up. I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Final thoughts on week 3 plugs.
Yeah, listen, again, I think we've been very lucky so far with college football matchups. We've had some great games, and honestly, this upcoming week we got another couple of top matchups. So, listen, it's a long season. Hold on to your hats there, and again, it's I love doing this because I feel like each week I find a guy or two that, maybe I was aware of, maybe I wasn't, or, maybe that just kind of I get intrigued about it. And then I just kind of dive into them and I look, at the highlights from that game. And then I want to learn more. And this is such a great exercise for me to kind of learn more about these prospects. And hopefully, as we go through the season, you guys will learn some of these prospects too. And by the time the draft comes, you'll be the one telling your buddies, oh, hey, watch for this guy, watch for that guy, and there's nothing better than being the guy to be like, hey, that's a guy, and then everybody looking at you. So, but yeah, no, I'm honestly, this is one of the most fun I'm having doing these shows. But as far as me, I got a lot going on as I usually do right here on Twitter or X, Philly Sports PSA. Philly Sports Alliance got shows throughout the week. Best place to catch us is YouTube. Give us a subscribe, or on Facebook. Put on those automatic notifications. That way you get all of the Philly Sports Alliance shows throughout the week. Plus, you get the bonus of all of the Edge of Philly Sports shows. So that's constant shows throughout the week. We just did our first pre, half, and post game shows for the Eagles game. If you haven't seen them, check them out. It's absolutely a blast. And that halftime show is just like, it's literally like just on, football analysis on speed.
Yeah.
It's great. So yeah, check that out. Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure that you give them a like and a follow as well, of course. So appreciate all the love. And yeah, again, I'm on shows every darn day. So is this guy. Make sure you're checking him out too.
Yeah. Tomorrow night or tonight, I guess, depending on when you're watching,
Right.
we'll be dropping this on Tuesday. Birds of the Round Table breaking down Eagles versus Patriots, but also previewing Eagles versus Vikings. And oh my, Nakobe Dean is already down. What do the Eagles do at linebacker? We'll be talking about that. No Party on Broad on Wednesday. We will be doing a Eagles pregame show on Thursday night at 6:30. So it's kind of just evolved into that. So that'll be a lot of fun. So guys, let us know down below who are your favorite college players of the week predictions. Let us know there. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you love the NFL draft as much as we do. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dibes, Mr. Crockpot. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.